Hello everybody, it's Holger Mueller here from Constellation Research, welcoming you to episode 107. Can you believe it, Liz? 107 episodes?
107 episodes where we get to roll this clown car right through the world of enterprise technology, and darn it, we're going to do it again. Why don't we bust into the news? It's not like anything's really happening out there.
No, just a few analytics data, something vendors having their conferences.
Oh yeah, they did a couple of things, right? Like a snowbrick or something like that.
Yeah, snowbrick or data flakes, flake data, frosties or something. Data flakes, right? Can you eat them for breakfast? They have more nutritious content. Insights for breakfast.
Dog dare someone to call their new AI, agentic AI, quantum-ready data product startup data flakes. That's my triple dog dare for the industry. But hey, Holger, what did you see that was happening out there in the world?
What dawned on me on this is in this whole race to agentic frameworks, right, which ultimately we'll go to, because right now we're in the land grab phase that everybody wants to get more data for this, right? So I can do this, I can do that. And what they've been adding, like Databricks and Snowflake, they enter transactional capabilities through acquisitions, through native capabilities, almost Postgres, right? Because the agents need to write data back and need to have transactions, right? So everything is leveling the playing field, right? I was just on a call with an industry executive, and it's kind of like on the track and field competition, there's decathlon happening, and all of a sudden the sprinters, the javelin thrower, the hurdlers, and the shot put guys are trying to compete in the same disciplines called agentic frameworks. So everybody comes from a different corner, has different strengths and weaknesses, and everybody wants to ultimately get all the data together, and then it's going to compete on the developer velocity, why the term near and dear to my heart, who can build agents faster and better. So that's the interesting situation we're in for the second half of 2025, which is almost around the corner.
It is almost around the corner, and it's interesting that you bring that up, because closing out my H1, there was an interesting thing. So you were there for the first time it happened. You were not there for the second time it happened, but I do feel like it's going to be a conversation that lots of people are talking about because fine-tuning costs so damn much, which is, remember when you and I were at Sapphire together and Philip Herzog, you're going to have to say the name so I don't, Herzog?
Yeah, Phil Herzog.
Okay. Herzog. See, I can say it. Dr. Herzog, for those of you who know, basically said, listen, SAP is, what we decided to do was kill prompt engineering, right? And we heard that, and that was a big portion of Sapphire, and I think you and I even talked about that before. But it was interesting because I heard a very similar message from Alan Trefler at Pegasystems, at PegaWorld. And it was really more around the idea that as we are getting more sophisticated around how we are picking and how we are looking at the various forms of AI, how we're setting the right AI and the right model to the right task, it is also going to include the understanding that, yes, because of how difficult it is to keep the persistence and the quality of the outputs when you switch models, that prompt engineering isn't necessarily going to be a viable answer for every business, so that you get the exact right prompt for the exact right model that's going to be the best for your business outcomes. From Pegasystems' point of view, it's more about getting that first kind of big bang right, and then allowing your traditional AI systems and allowing your traditional models and those transactional systems to go ahead and do kind of the everyday. You don't have to use the big compute. You don't have to use the big LLM every single time if you've already solved the first problem. Now you can just go ahead and assign it to your traditional AI or ML-based workflows and have those actually do that iterative process. It's not about an LLM every single time. It's not about an agentic workflow every single time. So I think we're starting to hear more about the nuance on how we want to set up these workflows, how we want to set up these autonomous engines, so that they not only can meet the data demands that we have today, but that we can move those things into the future. So I think we're, while a lot of the market is still going to be stuck in that hype cycle around what we're talking about, and you're right, Holger, everyone's going to come out with what they believe their flavor of agentic is. Someone's going to get super sassy and call it something different. I have a ton of respect for those organizations that come out and very clearly articulate what their standard that they are going to hold their organization to, of what agentic is and what they are striving for, so that everyone understands what they mean. I have a ton of respect for organizations that can come out and do that. I think once that bar is set, they then are getting into the nuance of, hey, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to, hire 19 prompt engineers when AI can do that for you from the SAP point of view, or, you can be able to do that. Interestingly, I was just at Salesforce Connections, and the message there for at least marketing and for commerce leaders, which is kind of what that conference is intended to showcase for, is that this is really about more, how do we create a straightforward path to AI? How do we create a straightforward path to building agents, as opposed to just telling everybody how easy it is? I think for a really long time, the message has been, it's so easy. You can build 1 million agents. You can build 1 million workflows. You can build 1 million co-pilots. And what users are finding is that, yeah, it's easy, but it's not necessarily straightforward. And so when Steve Hammond at Salesforce took the stage and said, listen, here's what we did to streamline the applications. Here's what we've done to streamline the data through something like Data Cloud. But what we're trying to do with Agentforce is make the creation of those agents straightforward and really focus on that business value that you're looking to drive. What are the hardest things that you have to face in your day, and how can you resolve those, and then create that easy glide path towards all of that. So I think that that's what we're probably going to see in H2. A lot of it's probably going to be a lot less of the hype. I hope. It'd be nice. I think it'd be nice to have maybe a little like turn down the knob a little bit on the AI hype factory. That I'm ready for that. But
I think you're worn down from the first half of travel and hoping for the hype to be down. Your former colleagues on the marketing side will hype something up again.
It's going to be something new. It might.
Here's my prediction: we'll come out of summer, and we'll talk about the next thing after agentic. I thought actually, out of fall, right, half a year ago, autonomous will take over agentic. Eat it for lunch. Agentic's still around, going strong, but I don't think it has the power to power the hype for all of 2025. Lots of conferences coming up in the way. Actually, more user conference happening from both revenue and attendees and vendors in the fall. So I don't think there's a lot of people who say we're going to do the same thing like the other guys. They will come up with something else, which again will create confusion, hype, cloud washing, AI washing,
AI washing, agentic
washing. I mean, the car washes are getting. Car washes is what
some of the news that's coming out like this week, when this episode drops, you're going to see news that's coming out of everywhere from the Cannes Festival of the Arts, which is like kind of the ultimate advertising boondoggle that happens every year. But you're going to start instead of seeing kind of the big flash of, look how many times I could create this video, look how many times I could create this new image. That kind of hype cycle is going to start dying down, because what we're starting to see is the large vendors really coming to market with a lot of optimization tools. And you're coming to market with a lot of tools that are very, very focused and very, very specific around how do we make what the customer expects to see and what the business expects to achieve. How do we bring those closer together? And how do we create those autonomous workflows so we can improve over time? There's a really interesting conversation that you guys are going to be hearing about, and it's going to start ramping up. I mean, you're not going to be able to escape it. As much as for, hey, marketers out there, as much as we were getting sick of having to have the endless SEO conversations around search engine optimization, now we're going to be talking about generative engine optimization. We're going to be talking about just how much traffic is coming to our branded sites. How much traffic is Gemini driving to our website? How much traffic is ChatGPT driving to our website?
AI created content. How much sale is the AI created content?
Exactly.
What's the return of AI content, right? So
the question starts to become, and we heard it at Salesforce, we're going to hear it in some announcements this week from Adobe around their LLM optimizer. You're going to start hearing this conversation around GEO. You're going to start hearing this conversation around, is your content not only ready for human consumption as they go through their natural path of exploration, but quite frankly, is your content built so an AI is consuming it and then putting you in that optimized search in that same way? It's a far more complex kind of hierarchy of how we have to arrange that content, including the metadata. that's behind that content. So content's going to certainly take a shift. I mean, it's going to be a really dominant conversation for marketers, over the next certainly 6 months and over H2, because we've been talking about personalization so much that we've forgotten that personalization is dependent on our capacity to deliver the content that resonates in context to the individual who's looking at it, right? We have to get their body language right. We've got to get their intent signals right. That isn't easy. But I think we're going to start to see those tools, especially around optimization and GEO, really start to come into the conversation. So it is going to get a little wild, but it is going to get kind of super technical back in, down into our niches and back into our functional cores of like, okay, I got the good idea of all the cool stuff AI could do. Now I've really got to dive deep into the business value of what I'm actually going to do with it so I can substantiate the business costs of this moving forward.
Yeah, and see the maturization of what agents can do.
Ding, got it.
Salesforce was very early doing agents. Right now I see some advanced or early adopting Salesforce customers where they're scared of what the agent can really do, both in terms of replacement of workers and in terms of like, if we unleash this, does this work? Yeah. And it works. And then are we really going to do this or not, right? Are we able to start the AI war with our suppliers, with our customers? And it's going to end up pretty for us, or is it going to end up pretty? So there's now a technology assessment situation happening right now. Which
and
is
a data assessment.
Yeah, it's no longer the how-to, like when will I do this and what will it mean for it, right?
Yeah. And I think it goes back to something that you and I have talked about quite often, and even quite often specific to Salesforce and to Agentforce, right? Which is the power behind a lot of that is really data cloud. So how are you developing your strategy to bring on data cloud, which isn't a CRM, it isn't a CDP. It can be used as that use case as a CDP, but it is that data lake. It is that, it is that data fabric for that Salesforce environment. It really does change the game. And you've said it many times before, like that's been that shift for Salesforce is really been data cloud. So the question then becomes, okay, are customers ready to understand what data cloud is? Because I do feel a lot of Salesforce customers don't quite necessarily understand just how important data cloud is, not just to Agentforce, not just to that, but to really to unlocking all of the clouds in the Salesforce environment.
Right. So go to data cloud if you're a Salesforce customer. And if you're not a Salesforce customer, build the data lake houses to get all your data together, right? All the sins which have not been invested in the past now really need to get fixed up because you're in a race for getting the data together and putting something on top of this, right? All this abandoned API hub you never finished, you need to finish it because your agents are going to automate on top of that. So super relevant. But we have to speak for a moment with the thing which would be the number one thing after AI, which would be quantum, right?
Oh man, so predictable.
Yeah, so we have to crash the AI party, right? So major announcement
quantum
from major vendors saying they will have quantum equality, quantum paid systems equivalent there. IBM, the most prominent one. Kudos, they had the multi-year roadmap in the past. They revamped their multi-year roadmap reflecting more of error correction, putting up a quantum data center up in Poughkeepsie, I hope I pronounce this right, upstate New York, traditional IBM location, and having what they announced already at the Think conference 2029 as a time where there will be commercial value out of quantum applications, which is
2029.
That's too
like
far
around
away.
The corner in tech land.
Around the corner, right?
Dang.
Yeah. And one thing from earnings season, one nugget from earnings season, I always like to look at how much money do people invest into capex, which builds out clouds. The only vendor where you can really clearly see the capex is Oracle. And Oracle would always do 1 billion or so 3-4 years ago, then went up to 5 billion. This quarter it was nailed to 50% of cash flow, the money a vendor makes, right? It would not be more, not be less. Ironically, always 50% cash flow. This last Q4, which they just published yesterday or the day before, Oracle spent more than cash flow. So they went to the piggy bank to spend on capex. And in Q4, they spent more than 3 times than Q1 and more than double than Q2 in the same financial year in capex. So there's a massive capex acceleration happening at Oracle, building up the data centers around the world. The multi-cloud offering works really well for them, but obviously they have an AI game in mind here. So
Well, and I think we also have to, we would be remiss in not saying, at least from a CX perspective, that AI game doesn't come with a price tag. So I think what's very different for an Oracle customer, if you are, you have made the strategy, you are on OCI, you are looking at Fusion, you are looking at all of those new advanced modern tools from Oracle. The question is like, what are you doing? Like Fusion sales, Fusion marketing, like we get it, but that it has ready access to your data. It's got all of the advanced processes. It's got all the advanced workflows, but now it's not also giving you an extra line item or an extra bill for all of these advanced AI solutions that they are announcing like all the time, right? So I think that Oracle has made a very, very calculated decision that AI should be part of your platforms. AI should be part of your applications, not a bolt-on, not an additional line item. That's a big move.
Well, Oracle's playing their cards really, really well, being the only SaaS vendor with a cloud infrastructure. So they're investing into the AI capacity. They have the access capacity. They for longest can use the access capacity to make their apps free to use AI. So they're playing their cards really, really wisely there, which is important for all the customers, right? Because they won't be asked ka-ching, not in the near future probably, but in the more distant future than with anybody else who sits on the other cloud vendors. Wait, someone has to pay for it, right? And how you're going to pay for it ultimately as a customer, should they pay for AI or not, we'll know. But hey, I think we have to wrap.
Hannah's coming for us. Listen, everyone, we'd love to sit here and talk to you more, but y'all know that we're afraid of Hannah, right? Like you guys have figured that after 107 episodes, we're terrified of Hannah. Like you guys got that yet? Okay. Listen, we're going to come up with some pretty great interviews. We've got some great executives.
She's coming up behind me.
She's coming behind you. Oh my God, run, Holger, it's Hannah. Listen, we're going to have some great interviews coming up in this episode, but we'll be back to say bye later. Welcome back to another great CRCX Convo. I'm Liz Mueller, Constellation Research. Y'all know where I am, PegaWorld. And if you have ever had to deal with me droning into a camera before, if you've ever watched any of these before, you should know who this is.
Hi, I'm Tara DeZao.
But normally, I have to talk to Tara in a little box. They normally separate us.
I'm glad we're together.
But we're together, we're live, we're gonna get into it. Okay. You and I traditionally talk about marketing.
We do.
We talk about how marketing is changing so much.
I know.
Which is like, it feels like we're going to need an hour and it's going to need like some kind of Desperate Housewives, like, and then this came in and took out data, and then this came in.
Yes, yes.
So while I do want to talk about marketing, I want to talk about the other table-flipping, drama-laden, crazy element that we all can't stop talking about.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of AI?
Yes.
Okay, once or twice? Once or twice?
Once or twice.
Everyone, once or twice.
So
here's what I want to talk about, because you and I always dig into it. Like, we always try to get to the truth of stuff when we talk to each other.
Sure.
And I kind of want to pick that thread a little bit about AI.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think for marketers, we're getting a smorgasbord of promises.
Yes.
Like, and they're all glittery, and they're all gorgeous, and we want to eat them all.
Right.
But we also still have a job to do.
We do, definitely.
So when it comes to you as a marketer, where are you looking at when it comes to how your job and how you as a marketer are advancing thanks to AI?
I think if you heard Ellen talk about the right AI for the right moment or the right use case.
Yes, I wanted to kind of stand up, but I was sitting in the front row and that would have been embarrassing.
Yeah. I mean, so I think it's really about what's the outcome you're trying to achieve and which AI is going to get you there. And so for me as a marketer, as a writer, it might be something like ChatGPT and brainstorming.
Right.
But
Get me started. Get me off of a blank page.
Kick me off. Yeah. Yes. And one thing that's great about Pega is, in addition to being a great advisor to our clients, they have walked all of the employees through how to use different types of AI to do our jobs better.
That also means that there is a large focus here and investment operationally on trying new things, having that be the norm. Share a little bit how that manifests for you as a marketer.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of just a steady drumbeat of We're going to talk you through this first, layer the next thing on and on.
Yeah.
I would say, though, it's interesting to see behaviorally. I have folks on my team that there's a stigma around using AI because they don't feel it's their own work.
Oh, it's not authentic.
Yes, and for me, that's a real barrier to productivity because, you don't just create something with Gen AI and then slap it out there into the universe. You have to iterate. You have to put your own voice in there.
Yeah.
But there's a hesitancy, I think, from marketers on wanting to feel authentic, not wanting AI to usurp their responsibilities.
We've been saying that that's the whole point of marketing. You have to have empathy. You have to be authentic.
Yes.
You come as yourself. You express as yourself. You engage as yourself.
Yes.
Oh, and now, by the way, use AI.
Yeah.
I totally get that. I totally get where the team might feel
Totally.
that.
So you have to really look at AI as your partner.
Yeah.
And not as a replacement for something else.
I love that.
Sure.
So with your customers and as you're talking about this progression, this journey across all these different forms of legacy, where do you suggest people start a new conversation? Does it start with blueprints?
Yeah, starting with blueprint is great because wherever you are in your maturity of transformation or use of AI, you can use it for something. So you can visualize a new next best action strategy. Maybe you're a traditional marketer, can help you visualize that. It can help you articulate the value of what that might be within your organization to your stakeholders. I think that there's a lot of different ways to use it, even if you're not quite fully through, the transformation journey.
Have you also seen people, because the thing that always comes into my mind when I'm looking at Blueprint is it reveals this land of what if.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
What if I actually worked in a more collaborative fashion with my customer success team?
Absolutely.
And how does that then change what campaigns I have to put on deck?
100%.
So what are some of the biggest things that you would recommend folks actually daring to ask? Because what if is also a really big question.
Yeah. I would say focusing on the customer journey and how you can make that as seamless as possible and as organic and AI powered as possible.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and we're moving into the orchestration phase, which is less about telling them where to go and offering the multitude of pathways for them to get there. I think too, what we need to think about is preemptive service.
Yes.
So marketing, that's a use case for marketing, right? Can I get this customer on their journey?
Right.
Can I keep them out of an issue or out of a problem before it becomes a problem?
Can't the content be the intersection point?
Exactly. Does this person need help setting up their account?
Right.
How do we onboard them better? Do they need education?
Right.
What can we give them that will help them not go over the cliff?
Yes. All of that is so connected, but I think we, as most enterprises know, I think you and I have worked in those enterprises before, sales, service, success, they're all in these weird little fiefdoms.
Yes, they are.
And they have their own little stacks and their own little processes and their own weird pods of data.
Lot of silos, lot of pods.
Right.
Yeah.
And to Alan's point in the keynote, which again, I wanted to stand up and cheer, but it would have been embarrassing because I'd have been like, oh! For 40 years, we've been waiting for the perfection of data.
Yeah.
I think marketers especially.
Yes.
We have been waiting for this nirvana of a perfect pod of data.
Yes.
Here you go, Sarah, use
Never
this.
going to happen.
Yeah. But I think through a lot of these automated actions, it opens up a very different conversation that we as marketers can and should be having with other parts of the organization and other parts of the enterprise.
For sure. And, having a wealth of data that can then drown you. I think with AI, it really is great at finding the signal and the noise so that you don't drown in your data. You actually
100%.
pull the insights out that turn into something that you can use.
But I think it fundamentally comes back to something that has been at the heart of, I think, every conversation that you and I have ever had, any conversation I've ever had with, I think, anyone at Pega, and it's around one word: decisioning.
Yes.
Right? Because in marketing, I think a lot of times other folks position this as like, we've got to give a lot of recommendations to the marketer because the marketer can't think of any recommendations on their own. It's like, no, we have too many.
Yeah, yes.
And they're all up here.
Yes.
They're all rolling around.
Totally.
We need decisioning.
Yeah.
So how does an organization shift from spitballing, right, and setting up solutions and systems to that, to setting up an intentional marketing environment for decisioning?
Yeah, it's about understanding the interplay between, what your objectives are and what channels and applications that you have.
Yep.
So I always tell people to do a MarTech stack audit.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
MarTech stack audit.
Right.
Take in feedback from your customers, make that a data loop that's coming in.
Yep, for sure.
And really, understand the value that you're trying to achieve before you start.
Yes. And the business value.
Yes.
Because I know that's what you mean, right?
It is, yes.
Because I think a lot of times we get back into that really small space of think about the campaign value.
Yeah, no. So are you trying to save money on marketing operations?
Right.
Are you trying to drive more customer acquisition?
Yeah.
What types of areas of your business have gaps that you're trying to fill?
How much have you seen those situations with your customers open up whole new doors for how they're delivering experience? Because that's collaboration on
for sure,
the 10th degree.
Yeah, for sure. I think if taking the concept of a persona and understanding why our clients might need a product or a feature, but then really you're talking to the individual.
Right.
So the persona helps you understand the needs and the tone and things like that, but actually you're talking to one person.
Right, and what I loved was okay, it read your entire website, so it understood you as a brand.
Yes, for sure.
Right, so it's I think that there are a lot of times that when we jump into an optimization journey, we jump in wanting to optimize the journey because we understand the channels and we understand the personas. But we haven't looked at everything else about where that brand voice changes.
Yep.
And what I loved about being able to ingest different points of content and different starting points is that's all written by different places in the org.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And that's bringing all of your authentic brand voice, bubbling that up to the surface in a way that doesn't punish the brand because something gets created.
Absolutely.
Without that collaboration and without that check.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I love talking to you.
I always love talking to you. And this time we got to do it live. So thank you, PegaWorld. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hello everybody, it's Holger Mueller here from Constellation Research here in Boston at IBM 2025, sitting with two important people when it comes to databases on IBM.
If you say so.
I say so. There's no discussion. Welcome to Edward Calvesbert and Miran Badzak. Thanks for being here. And you had some exciting things to say today. I mean, we even had your CEO, Arvind Krishna, this morning talk about data, lakehouse data.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tell us more about it.
Yeah, so Watsonx.data is our hybrid open data lakehouse for Gen AI and analytics. And what we're announcing today is that we're going to be supporting unstructured and structured data within the same lakehouse architecture. That's going to help clients avoid creating additional data silos for Gen AI and really unify and unlock the value of all of their data for agentic AI, Gen AI, as well as all their traditional analytical workloads.
Yeah, super important, super strategic for customers. Everybody talks about AI in 2025. Everybody knows you can ask a school child, what makes the AI good? It's the data.
Yes.
And most companies 100%. Don't have the data repository, which are the lakehouses, data lakes, whatever they'll be calling right now. But there's also the structural side. You said correctly, unstructured and structured data coming for the first time together, which is super strategic because I would like to say, remember in the 90s, there was data mining. the showcase was diapers and beer. Right, for the people who don't know, right, it was like the freshly meant fathers would drive home, get the call to get some diapers, and then you would put the beer next to the diapers, and all of a sudden you would spike in beer sales, right, which you normally wouldn't do in a supermarket. I think if you give an enterprise a data lakehouse, and people can use tools to look what's in there, there's 1,000+ diapers and beer moments, which people could just not find. We always thought there might be, but it was always siloed intelligence. First of all, structured data, unstructured data, then different functional silos and so on. And now it's all flat, which is wonderful, right? But the transactional part comes from the DB2 side.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you know, DB2 is our flagship database relational product. And we've had some amazing announcements this week as well around AI and around hybrid cloud. Those are sort of our two strategic imperatives for IBM. So around hybrid cloud, we announced the availability of DB2 and DB2RS on Azure. That's going to be coming as a managed service through an innovative new channel and model called BYOC, Bring Your Own Cloud.
Walk me through what does it mean, DB2 on Azure.
So what that means is customers that are deploying DB2 and DB2RS as managed services, the service itself, the service itself is running in the customer's own account on Azure. So what that means is that the customer is in full control over their security posture, full control over their data, full control of their infrastructure. They're in the driver's seat, and we are still providing the same managed services for those customers and getting the same value prop as a traditional SaaS model.
So I don't have to have the DB2 deep knowledge, whatever, to run it.
Bingo.
You guys, IBM is running that for me as a customer. At the same time, I get the benefits of the cloud in terms of availability, elasticity, and so on.
Exactly right. So that's on the hybrid cloud side. On the AI side, I know we've been talking a lot about AI this week, as expected. We also announced 2 new capabilities to the DB2 engine. This is going to be the ability to store vector embeddings natively in DB2 and to be able to do similarity search on those vector embeddings or those vector data types.
Like what are some typical use cases for that?
So there's a ton of different use cases here. You can do financial transactions, for example. You can do fraud detection. If you're running an e-commerce site, for example, you can do product recommendations and product recommendation engines. You can do image search, image matching, people matching, all sorts of different applications come out of the woodwork as a result.
Yeah. You had one more new announcement, I think, on the DB2 side.
Oh, I did. Glad you remembered. So we announced today also the coming availability of our brand new product called DB2 Intelligence Center. This is a brand new database, really a database management solution for DBAs. And in addition to the typical feature set of monitorings, dashboards, alerting, all of that good stuff, really at the heart of this new product is a new database assistant for DBAs. And we targeted this specifically to address the needs and the pain points of our database administrators as they're managing fleets of, single instances or fleets of DB2 databases. That's great. And so what this is a new conversational AI assistant that's built right into the product. And we've already built a ton of skills into that new product, so you can answer questions about DB2 itself. It can help me troubleshoot problems. It could help me pull telemetry data, for example, from my DB2 database. I can ask it, for specific statistics, and it'll visualize those statistics for me. And then we're working on evolving that technology to provide even more value to our DBAs. And that is using under the covers. It's using Watsonx, and it's using our Granite LLMs all under the covers. Our Watsonx Orchestrate as the underpinning technology. So
it's great to see the synergies with other
absolutely
coming together.
Well, I think there's we spend a lot of time talking about data for AI, right? But there's another direction of that, AI for data. So actually using LLMs and traditional machine learning to make the data management problem a lot easier, right? To automate a lot of the tedious tasks, right? To make everything more performant, more accessible, and that's a huge part of what LLMs are bringing to data.
One of the big challenges enterprises had with big data technology, data lakes, which became data swamps, were not updated. There were islands which had no reference to something else, but were costing storage. I think AI will be very, very powerful, and we'll see this in the second half of this year. As the platforms are there, AI will help to manage and solve the data problem. I think the days when we talk about data problem,
absolutely.
we just said this funny thing, like you were the lucky one with only a clear last name, right? We have last names which were changed coming to the US, right? Figuring out that Mueller with UE is the same with Mueller like with 2 dots. Right?
Yes.
I mean, this is not rocket science, right? I mean, you can't even call this AI, right?
Yeah.
Very interesting. So
Let me ask you this. In your wildest dreams, if everything goes great, right? Whatever, tariffs, no tariffs, forget it, everything is perfect, right? If in 1 year, in 2026, we sit again here and think, what will have happened with the products you released, announced, made available now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're really focused on liberating unstructured data, right?
Yeah.
And it's a relatively new thing, but if we can make just a small fraction, right, of that enterprise data highly accessible, high quality, trusted, and usable for agentic AI or for Gen AI apps, there's so much opportunity there. So I think that problem is just getting started. Beyond that, I think a semantic layer, which is one of the enabling technologies of combining structured and unstructured data, right? I think there's a lot of work applying Gen AI to creating semantic layers, right, to making the data silos problem go away. So the lakehouse does a pretty good job of unifying it, but you still have to be on that core technology, right? We know clients have data everywhere, and that's not changing overnight, right? But if you can create a semantic layer, right, that's able to intermediate queries wherever they're sourced and figure out, hey, where's this data? What's the best way to access it? What's the right SQL dialect to use, or is it Python, or is it something else? Really creating an abstraction, a performance abstraction that makes that data silos problem just kind of like dissipate.
Perfect, excellent. Yeah, great.
Yeah, and I think for DB2, we're on a mission to help our customers leverage the data that they've had in DB2 for many years now, to unlock it for new applications, new AI workloads, new services, and I'm super excited to see what our customers are able to build and what they build a year from now. Because I think the technology and the possibilities are absolutely endless. I talked about that one example of an e-commerce site, a recommendation engine, something that would have taken a team of data scientists potentially months to do. We're able to do in a matter of seconds. So the number of applications and the number of use cases, I think, is just enormous, and the potential is just enormous. So I am really excited to see what our customers build, and I'm hoping to bring some of them here to, I think, next year and have them show that off.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure chatting with you.
Likewise.
It's like around the world in 180 days or 80 seconds or 8 minutes. I don't know what the time frame's going to be, but we covered a lot in this episode 107 of CRTV. Hey, Holger, I'll see you next time at 109.
In 109, we are the
Okay.
odd couple. Don't miss
Yeah,
us.
but at next episode, the next drop of CRTV, you're actually going to get to hear from Larry Dignan and Martin Schneider, coming to you with the far more serious version of this news. But for now, from the clown car, signing off for Holger and Liz. See you guys next time.
Liz hopped on, but Liz, we're talking about what's worth, Holger having green hair or a weird shadow and a grainy shadow in the background, but no green hair.
Like my new sweatshirt.
What is it? Agent Blazer?
Agent Blazer. I feel like it's very aggressive because it's shiny.
Yeah.
It's metallic. So it's like very aggressive with the I do AI. Okay, I have an idea. Take one tiny step to your right, maybe. Nope, left. Sorry, left. Stop.
Yeah, that's what I did with Michael. I was violating the rule of thirds and doing like.
Yeah, no. Don't, no. Come back in a little bit more. But
Is
come
my
a little
hand good?
closer.
Is my hand fine?
No. Come in right there. Yeah. Come in a little closer. Not too much, but half step back. Okay, just do that. We're just gonna have to live with that. It looks like a swarm of something is about to try to come and attack you.
Yeah, I'm getting attacked by a
But
bunch
it's
of
better
bees.
than like the boogeyman coming to eat you. So it's like
And
that's
the
might be the best.
feature is I can toggle it.
Ooh, green. No. No.
No, not the
Oh, you don't
green.
like the green? Aye.
No, because it's no, that's not. God damn it.
How's Reagan doing?
She is on her first week of. Damn it! Stop doing that. Sorry. Of summer vacation. So she has done nothing. The kid has done nothing, and she keeps saying things like, "I really just need time for a break."
Well, who doesn't hear that?
From what? From coloring.
I'm exhausted.
Oh, basically. Oh God, Mom, I don't want to. I don't want to go to camp this week. I need a relaxing week.
Who's she imitating?
Not me.
Well, then
Mama damn
there's
works all
another
the damn
option.
time.
And did we run out of money to give me a title, or maybe? Yeah,
Where's?
maybe
How about
Derek
you
can
use
start,
your own
but
shit?
I don't need
Why?
it. I don't need it. Everybody knows
We
what
ran
I'm
out
doing.
of money to get you your personal assistant to do your own. Like what? Go in.
Oh yeah, no,
We
the Slash
apparently
is
lost
done.
budget for Holger's personal assistant
Yeah,
to go
well,
and do all of his
luckily,
Chiron.
thank you, Ray Wang, for
Ray Wang? Who the hell's Ray Wang?
Ray Jan for approving.
Fine, Ray
money.
Jan.
Ray
But
Jan.
who's Ray Wang?
That's like just me being tired at 11 o'clock. So.
Okay, well that's fair. Still trying to get through the whole We Do the Odd episode.
We're the odd couple here, but you know that. Come on.
No, it's
There's
so
nothing
kind of like
even
weirdly
Steven.
perfect. We didn't plan it.
There's nothing even Steven here. Come on.
There's no even
We leave
Steven.
this to the other guy.
Just the oddballs. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just not over that I can say next week you see the double D's, but
No. HR
No,
challenge.
not
I'm punching out. No.
we have no HR. You know? We have
No.
Hey,
Ooh, here comes it.
here I am, and you
Look like
went
Hannah
too
here.
long.
Hannah here.
Right as you do that, like the clinic.
Oh.
There should be like a background image where that's me doing that, and so you
Yeah,
can just
with a
throw it
giant
up on the
hook.
green screen.